So, what we are doing today?
Hey there. Well, I just got done washing this turkey. Our friend Amanda was asking me about what it is to spatchcock a turkey, and I promised that we would put together a video to kind of show how we put this together. So, first thing I did is cut up some vegetables. So, this is a roaster pan, and I put up big chunks of onion, carrot, garlic, celery. You can use to lift the turkey up off the bottom one of these racks if you want to, but I prefer just to use the vegetables because I'm going to make turkey gravy out of that when all of this is done.
Mm-hmm.
So I wash the turkey, and I do mean wash it like, mild dishwashing detergent like Dawn cleaned it all up, got all the bacteria and stuff off of it, and now I'm drying it up because if it's not completely dry, the butter doesn't like to stick. Speaking of butter, I softened a stick, and now I'm going to throw in garlic, sage, rosemary, and thyme. All those little guys right there. And I'm going to stir this up. And that's going to be what I rub on the skin. Now, the other thing you can do is right here, you see where the skin, you can separate the skin and you can put it under the skin like that. You can put it up under the skin, which is perfectly fine, and actually to many people is preferred. But what I need to do once I get this mixed up and let it set for a little while is flip this over and remove the backbone, because the spatchcock technique is actually where you lay it out flat and you need to remove the backbone in order to do that. So if you're a little sensitive about crunching noises, you might want to turn away now. And probably what I need to do is put just a line so I can. Oh, that reminds me, that beeping noise is my oven. It just came up to temperature. We're going to start this at 425 degrees. So the first thing you want to do when you start this whole thing is get your oven up to 425. Now it's only going to stay at that temperature for about 30 minutes, but you want to start this whole recipe by getting your oven up to temp. And then all we're going to do, I just made a little line there with a knife so I can, as much as possible, keep this in a straight line and remove only the backbone. And what I've got in my hands here, or my hand, is poultry shears. They're specifically heavy duty and designed for exactly this purpose, for cutting up poultry. Turkey, chickens, all that kind of stuff. And they're literally perfect for this. Now, I'm going to make gravy out of everything that's in here. So I'm going to put that backbone right in there. And then this part is very important. You want to try to open this up, flip it over, put it back on your counter. And what I'm trying to do is get that crunch. I want to get this as flat as I can, because instead of baking a turkey for 6-8 hours, this cuts it down to about 2. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So that's laying there. Now it's perfect. That's laying out flat exactly the way I want it. And these ends typically burn, so I'm going to tuck this end of the wing, because I don't keep those anyway. They're good for flavoring gravy, but that's about how I want that. I'll just lay it out and then put it in the pan and that's how it goes in the oven. All right, so I'm adding the butter and spices. And again, you can put this up under the skin and it's awesome. I'm just coating the outside. Most of this is gonna, once the turkey heats up, it's gonna run down. And I've got this butter a little thin, but it's fine. The point to it is just get it all over the skin. So I warmed it up in the microwave for, well, I took a stick out of the refrigerator, so it was very cold. I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then you saw me add the spices to it. Stuck it in the freezer a little bit so it would thicken up just a little bit, make it stick. And there is that. And the next logical question is going to be, well, how much of each of the spices did you put? And the answer is whatever you in particular would like to do and when it looks right to you. I'm looking for something like a green paste. Again, it's rosemary, sage, thyme, and garlic. And then it's going into that pan in any way you can make it work. Legs out, legs in, whatever you need to do to make it fit in that pan. And when I was looking for a turkey, got the smallest turkey I could find, which was about 12 pounds, and you could see that it's pretty much the whole pan by the time I put it in there. The idea of spatchcock cooking is when you open the bird up, you're trying to make this bird as even as possible for even cooking time. And then once that butter cools down, of course, it's going to stick and get thick like it is. But as soon as it hits the heat in the oven, it's basically just going to roll off there.
Looks like this turkey gets some mud mask from Dead Sea.
A mud mask. Okay, that's funny. So we keep cutting the video because I keep washing my hands over and over and over. Oven's at 425. It's going in for 30 minutes uncovered. And then at that point, I'll cut it down to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And that will go on for another hour and a half, and then I'll start taking temperature on that from there. The internal temperature, again, you do your own research on the internet, so whatever food you're cooking is safe for you, but I like mine at least 170 degrees, and then I know it's fully cooked. But again, that's me. Don't follow my advice. Do your own research and make sure what you're doing is safe for you and your family. But again, it's 425 for 30 minutes and then 375 for 90 minutes or an hour and a half. And then check it and keep checking it until it's done. And you just maintain the 375 once you cut it down from 425. So we'll be back after 30 minutes. As soon as I put that in, I realized that I missed one very important step, which is kosher salt all over the top after you butter it. And don't be shy with the salt. Then put it in the oven, 30 minutes, 425 degrees. So that was 30 minutes at 425. And now, if you want to, you can pull it out and baste it, which means take a big spoon, tip the pot. Oh, there's a lot of juice in there. Take the juice out and pour it over the top. But it's absolutely not necessary. So just to prove that point, I'm going to put it back in the oven at 375, set the timer for 90 minutes, and then check it after that. And we'll see what we got. All right. That's 90 minutes. And we'll see what we have. If you have not invested in a meat thermometer, I strongly recommend that you do. So I just put it in there in several places, and I'm getting bone. And you don't want bone. Okay, that's completely done. So if you hit bone, back off a little bit. Anything above 170 is awesome. And deep in the breast, deep in the thigh. We're there. That's done after 90 minutes. So I'm going to do a couple of things. The first one is I'm going to glove up so I can remove the turkey from the pan. And then I'm going to pour out the juice and make gravy from that. Be right back. And that needs to rest for 20 minutes. So I'm going to tent this, which means loosely cover with aluminum foil. It doesn't need to be wrapped up tight, but it needs to be covered. And let that sit right there. And all of this beautiful juice needs to go into a screen or a bowl of some kind so I can make gravy out of that. So I just strained all the juice out of the turkey drippings, and I'm melting some butter, and I'm going to add a little bit of flour for a thickener. So that's a 50-50 mix. It's 50% butter and 50% flour. And it turns into a paste. And then you add the drippings that you took from the pan. And that becomes your turkey gravy. In the last video we did, we called it hamburger milk gravy when we were putting the roux together, which is butter and flour, and then we added hamburger after. And a subscriber of ours corrected me and said it's not milk gravy, it's cream gravy. And in this case, it's turkey gravy. Same recipe exactly. Half butter, half flour, and then the drippings from the turkey, and bring it up to a full rolling boil.
Super.
The turkey all by itself is awesome,
Mm-hmm.
but with the gravy, that's over the top. That's definitely worth eating.
Okay.